Rock bottom. We think of it as the end, but what if hitting our lowest point is actually the beginning of something transformative? The story I'm about to share completely changed how I think about personal crisis.
You know what's fascinating about this 1978 story of Cindy? Here's a woman literally living on society's edge in this deteriorating motel, fighting demons that visit her night after night.
The details of her environment are just so visceral. That failing air conditioning, those rusted hinges literally crumbling away, those erratically flickering lights. It's like her surroundings are a physical manifestation of her internal state.
Hmm. And the way she describes her work in the underground underclass really shows how she's had to fragment her identity, right? Those high cheekbones and pouty lip being the only things making her feel human anymore.
Well, that's exactly what struck me. She's developed this whole alternate persona just to survive. You know, studies show that this kind of psychological compartmentalization is actually a common survival mechanism in marginalized populations.
The contrast between her life and her childhood friend Anne's really highlights that, doesn't it? I mean, here are two women who started out sharing everything.
And that's where things get really interesting, because while Anne took what society calls the right path, white picket fence, motherhood, the whole traditional package, Cindy chose what she thought would be this empowering rebellion. But like so many acts of rebellion, it became its own kind of prison.
That motel room scene really captures that imprisonment, doesn't it? The way the silence becomes this overwhelming force, and when she tries to escape it with the TV, she just gets this blast of static.
Right? And that leads us to this absolutely crucial phone booth scene. Here's Cindy reaching out to her last lifeline, and instead of comfort, she gets this wake-up call that's both brutal and necessary. The way Anne's voice is described as like a balloon that had lost all its air, that's just devastating.
So, what do you make of Anne's response, that harsh fix it or you'll die trying ultimatum?
You know, it reminds me of research on enabling behaviors and how sometimes the kindest thing we can do for someone is to stop cushioning their fall. Studies show that about 75% of successful recovery stories involve some kind of rock bottom moment like this.
The physical description of her reaction is so raw, those tears burning like a line of fire in a lush forest. It really emphasizes how this moment is both destroying and potentially purifying.
And then comes this beautiful transition that just, well, it changes everything. The shift from oppressive darkness to dawn, from pure black to those purple ombre tones, it's like watching someone's consciousness slowly awakening.
The symbolism of that magnolia tree and the bird's song feels almost too perfect, doesn't it? Like nature itself is offering her a different perspective.
Ah, what's fascinating is how this story, despite being set in the 70s, mirrors so many modern struggles. Recent studies show that social isolation and addiction rates have actually increased by 30% in the last decade.
Well, that really speaks to the timelessness of these human struggles, doesn't it?
Exactly. And here's what's really profound. This story challenges our conventional ideas about rock bottom. It's not just about destruction. It's about creating space for something new to grow.
The way the story handles that transformation is so nuanced, though. No magical happy ending, just this subtle moment of awakening.
And that's really the heart of it. Whether it's addiction, toxic relationships, or destructive patterns, we all face moments where we have to choose between the familiar pain or that terrifying first step toward change. Studies show it takes an average of 7 attempts before someone successfully breaks free from destructive patterns.
So, in the end, it's really about hope. Not the easy kind, but the harder, more genuine hope that comes from within.
You know what? Maybe that's the real message here, that sometimes losing everything, even our last supporter, might be exactly what we need to finally save ourselves. Because in that moment of complete solitude, we finally hear our own voice clearly enough to make a change.